What's up, guys? This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Financial stress isn't just about money. It tends to affect everything else too. Your mood, your sleep, your relationships. At the start of 2026, about 88% of Americans were dealing with some level of financial stress, and it's one of the biggest sources of tension for couples. So if that's something that you felt, you're definitely not alone, and it's not a personal failure. A lot of the time, it just means you're carrying more than you should have to on your own. For me, I'll be honest, it usually just shows up as like a low-level, constant thing in the background. Not always overwhelming, but always kind of there. Just thinking about expenses, future plans, or whether you're actually doing things right. And that stress, it builds over time. Therapy isn't about just getting advice on what to do with your money. It's about dealing with the stress that comes with it. The anxiety, the pressure, the expectations. Having a space to work through that can make it feel a lot more manageable. BetterHelp's make getting started pretty straightforward. You will fill out a short questionnaire and they will match you with a licensed therapist based on your needs. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch at any time. They have over 30,000 therapists that have helped over 6 million people globally, with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 from over 1.7 million reviews. When life feels overwhelming, therapy can help. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/rush. That's betterhelp.com/rush. Back to the show.
Let's roll. I ain't the driver, the one in the back. Feeling like Crosby, I'm turned to the max. You with, he ain't talking about nothing. Ain't ballin', babe, he can afford a bag. These little broke ass ready in the past. I come with more than half. I need my sack, rush it. You and me racks, rush it. Dress all black, rush it. So many hits, thought I had concussion. I need my sack, rush it. You and me racks, rush it. Dress all black, rush it. So many hits, thought I had concussion. Buckets. Let's roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Rush. It is your boy, Maxx Crosby, in the building. I got my brothers with me, Brogan Roback, Darian Terrell. And today, we got an extremely, extremely special guest. Somebody who I can consider a brother, a teammate, an incredible person, and a leader. Somebody that's been in the foxhole with me, went to war together on a daily basis. Somebody who I looked up to a ton in that locker room, somebody that gave me a ton of advice. One of the best, if not the best, in my opinion, the best Raider quarterback to ever strap it up. The one and only, the fans, and I'll say this too, the fans have been calling for this for a long time. And we had to make sure the timing and everything was right. You already know this, you're like a brother to me, but the one and only Derek Carr is in the building. Welcome, my brother.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood if you're with
my dog right there.
Hey, Brogan, Darian, Max, thank you guys for having me. It's an honor, man, to be here. And I am not in Las Vegas, and I'm definitely not coming back. So it's good to talk to you right here.
Amen. Hey, it's all good. But hey, we're happy to have you, bro. We know you have a very, very busy schedule. Have another car in the family. Dayton just got here. Fifth car baby in the house. So big shout out to you, man. Congratulations to you and the family. Our boy Darian here as well just had his first son, Tatum, as well. So you guys can bond on that. I mean, Brogan, you got to figure it out. I'm putting the pressure on you.
You guys know I used the term a few weeks ago. I'm not going to use it again on the show, but just know we're working on it. 4th and long, 4th and inches, doesn't matter. We're going for it. There's no punting going on at this house. So we're coming for it.
Amen. But yeah, congratulations to both of you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep. Thank you.
No, it's incredible, man. So what's new? What's been going on in the life of Derek Carr now that you're retired and living life?
You know what's crazy is, I obviously I watch every one of your games, and I watch all the football games. I got to coach my boys, this season, and so that was awesome. I get to be at everything. Like, I'm at all their baseball practices, I'm at their basketball practices, I'm at the games, I'm at everything. And it's you really think you're being present, because I know you too. You try and be a great husband. You try and be a great dad while you're playing and while you're doing all those things. And you think you're there, and then you get done and you don't have that extra film or that extra thing. And you really realize how much you miss out on, And so, man, I've gotten to watch my kids the last, year and a half just grow up right in front of me. And it's been such a blessing. Like, I wouldn't trade that for any touchdown, any record, any win. and any dad, can understand that, like there's nothing like seeing your kids grow up and have their own success. My oldest is going to be 13, bro. And, and he's a little man. I worked out this morning, and he works out with me every morning now. He's grinding. He wants it so bad. He wants tattoos and everything. I'm like, not yet, and so, man, it's a beautiful thing to be on this side of it, and really get to look back, because my kids ask me questions now, and I get to really look back, because when you're doing it, you don't look back 1 second. Like, you don't look at one record, one win, one play. You're like, forget all that. It's on to the next, but now, they want to watch my YouTube highlights at night and do all this kind of stuff. So it's been fun, man, to show them that stuff.
That's incredible, bro. And it's so true. I think that, obviously when you're in it, it's, you just can't be there as much as you want, unfortunately, and you got to sacrifice. And, it's funny. I was literally talking about this week with a couple of the guys in the locker room. But since I had Ella, like, there's no, and I love Rachel to death. I mean, we've been together for 9 years. That's my ride or die.
Way to preface that.
But she knows this as well. Like, if you got a great game on, like, for example, yesterday, the Cavs, I'm a Harden guy. You know that since you were with me. I've been a Harden fan for a very long time. There's nothing that would have gotten me to not be home and watch the Cavs game 1 in the playoffs besides my daughter. She had gymnastics at 11. The Cavs game started at 10. And I was like, I got to be there. I'm like, I can't not be there. So I'm like, Rach, I got to get Amazon set up on my phone. I'll get it in the background, whatever. But you know what I mean? I can't miss out. I got to be there. And it's like that, and I was telling Darian the same thing. Like, there's no better and bigger blessing than having the kids and just watching them grow and evolve so fast, like right in front of your eyes. I mean, it was like yesterday, we're playing in Kansas City. I'm getting on the plane, and all of a sudden, boom, Rachel's water breaks. I'm like, oh my God. It feels like yesterday. Now Ella's literally she thinks she's the CEO running the house and running around and talking and walking. It's like, it's the biggest blessing in the world. So congrats to you, man. And congrats to Darian as well, man. It's the best thing on the planet, man.
No, you're exactly right, bro. And I think it's like a great message to all the dads out there. Like, no matter what you do, like, bro, I was a professional quarterback. Like, that's a time consuming. You're a professional defensive end. Like, that's time consuming. You're studying, taking care of your body, doing all these things, but making sure that you're there for your children. That's the one thing I saw from my dad. He worked, he was a car salesman, man. He was car salesman hours before the sun. And then when the sun went down, he was still at work, and then I saw him at night, and we'd play catch for 20 minutes and then go to bed. And so, but one thing about him, he was always there. If I had a game, he always made sure on his lunch break he was there, and so I think that's such a huge thing for all of us dads, man, just making sure that we're there like that. That's the number one battle, is can you just be there for him? Because I'll see my kids. My son literally slid at home in his game last night. I'm sitting all the way in the outfield because I can't sit by the other parents. I just can't do it. They're arguing balls and strikes. The kids are 6. And I was like, it's a machine. It's not even a real pitch, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, my son slides at home. He pops up and looks for me all the way in the outfield. And I'm like, dude, just being there and him having that moment, there's nothing like it.
That proves showing up matters, though, to be honest with you. And that's how I feel like the confidence builds within yourself throughout whether it's sports or if it's a career path you're chasing, whatever it is. I feel like having that stability and that support system there. I mean, even there's numerous times if you did like the choir for whatever reason, if you were growing up, Max, I know he probably for sure did that. But like if you were doing the choir and you knew you had no pipes up there, at least you could look to your pops or your mother or somebody and you're like, hey, they love me regardless, right? It's all good. So I think that's cool. I did see on your show, DC, that with your brother, you guys talked about an hour a day. I believe that was right with your father, like an hour a day he would have with you guys. Do you have a similar like regimen going on with your kids? You give them an hour and then the rest of the time they get to be kids, or, if they enjoy what they're doing with that hour with you, I'm sure that becomes 2 hours, 3 hours, right? Because you tend to love what the sport you're playing or whatever it is that you guys are doing. You still kind of taking that over?
Oh, absolutely. Just like Max, myself, like we obviously the good Lord gifted us with enough ability to obviously play in the league, but we didn't make it, just an in and out thing. We made it a career by the work ethic, right? By the hard work that we put in every single day. And that's how you last through all the coaching changes and all the different stuff, right? And so for my kids, I kind of took what my dad took, but I was like, whatever season it is, we're going to work at it as hard as we can. We're going to go out there for an hour and we're going to work our butt off. And on Sundays, obviously we'll rest and have fun and do whatever, but we're going to work our tail off, because especially nowadays, if you got a little bit of savage in you, you're going to go farther than even I could go, with just how the world's set up now. And so with our kids, we homeschool them too. And so they get done with their schoolwork and it's lunchtime. And I'm like, all right, let's go outside. Let's work. And what it's turned into this, like I'll hit grounders. It's baseball season. I'll hit them grounders. And then my daughter's showing up, like all 4 of them are out there taking grounders. Right. And then I'll be like, all right, once it's been like long enough, I'll be, okay, we're done. And every time they're like, can we please do more? Right. Can we please go? Can we do this? Can we race now? Can we do? And it turns into this fun thing that they get to do with their dad. And so that's just the way that I've, just tried to instill work ethic, but keeping it fun at the same time while they're young.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah. All right, Darren, you got him, bro.
No, I was going to say, in retirement, it sounds like you've taken the dad as the front seat, right, as the primary responsibility and role. Have you gotten any new hobbies, or is being a full-time dad taking that up? Like, have you gotten bit by the golf bug or anything cool like that, or fun?
Yeah, 100%. Like, so I always play in the American Century Championship in Tahoe, and I've been doing it even since I was with the Raiders, and they keep inviting me back, and it's awesome. So my whole day is like, I'll get up, they'll do their homeschool thing, I'll go hit golf balls. And so I'm probably hitting golf balls every day. So I'm outside, just me and all the 70-year-old men around here, just retired, living it up. we're out there, I'm playing golf. And like, I laugh at this because my youngest boy, obviously when he grows up, he's gonna be like, why is dad always home? Like, I'm not going to tell him I played quarterback. He's going to see the jersey. He'll ask the question someday, but I just want him to be like, dude, why are you like, you just golf? Like, what do you do? So I definitely love golf. I love doing the podcast with my brother. Just, you guys know how it is, man. You guys played, and it doesn't matter what level you play at. Just media in general can be so negative sometimes, and now it's going down into the high school because these kids are getting paid. And it's like, man, it's so negative. And so we just try to put a positive spin on everything, and just think, if a player's mom saw our podcast, would they want to retweet what we're saying? And that's kind of what we've been doing. So we've just been enjoying doing that, and having fun doing that. So I like you guys, man, I enjoy the podcast. I enjoy talking sports and, staying in. I'm still watching film. I'm still doing those things because I want to coach at some point, at a high level. Just with the baby here, it's just probably not the right season for that. But there's definitely some things that I've caught the bug for. But golf, 100%. I'm trying to win that golf tournament. That's for sure.
We've been trying to get Max into golf. What would you say the best segue for him to get into golf is?
The best segue for him, and this would be good because he's getting to that point where I would be like, hey, Max, it's time to get off the basketball court, because that's where I was. And I was like, it's good to play with your friends. But I remember someone had a talk with me, and they're like, hey, let's build a pool and put a basketball coop in there so you get your fix. But then let's go play golf, because your kids can play golf with you forever. And that's what really hit me is, once we had all our boys, I was like, man, like, seriously, I went out with my dad, and he took me and my 2 brothers out. So us 4 went out. He's 70 years old, and we're out there golfing. He's kicking our butt. I'm like, this is something that it inspired me, because at least I'm so competitive. I got to beat my kids. I was literally wrestling them, all 4 at once. I was like, go. And I was like, if you can pin me for 1 second, so the competitiveness is still there.
For sure.
And so, Max, no more basketball, man. Just for my heart, just 2K.
We'll get him a set of clubs.
Yeah, get him a. I'm gonna
send something to him.
I'm gonna send somebody to your house to get you a fitting. That's what I'm gonna do.
You got the Sunday red shirt on already. That's a good way to start right there. That's there exactly for the boy.
Great marketing, great connections, bro. Golf's the best.
It really is.
I think,
and it's a you versus you thing mentally, and you love battling yourself and like beating yourself and being the better version of yourself.
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome, because as soon as you think you got it, it shows you that you don't, and then you're just earning and yearning for more of that. I feel like, and you want to go be great. It's a battle within yourself, dude. That's why I think you'd love it more than anything.
Oh yeah,
and we want to take your money at the same time.
Hey, I gotta get in the lab. I definitely think, at some point, it's, obviously I know this. I'm not on the, you could say I'm on the back nine of my career. You could say that. We'll see how long, we play, but once you get closer to the 30s, it's kind of, you're getting closer and closer. I still got a lot of time left, but at the same time, I know when I'm done, I need, like you said, that competitive itch. I need to do something. You know what I mean? The hardest time for me is the off season. Like, I love training, and I love, like, the only competing I get is when I'm with the guys and we're running sprints and doing things like that.
Yeah.
But it's really hard for me during the season. It's like you're in your natural element. You guys know this more than anybody. Like, you're able to get that out and you're able to compete, not to get just against yourself or your teammates. You're out there to go, in front of the world and going against other teams. And it's like, it's the best feeling in the world. But in the off season, it's like, I feel like I'm always like slightly on edge because I need to like go and prove that I could beat somebody in something. So I know I love watching golf. You guys know this, I've definitely gotten more into it and I actually enjoy watching golf now. But at some point, right hand of God, God willing, I don't have a rehab or anything like that. After the season, it's been like 3 years straight where I've had rehab. So it's kind of messed my off season up a little bit, but I definitely want to get some, start getting some lessons or something. Maybe even if it's just once a week on Sundays, go in the morning and just kind of get it started. So I think it's going to be coming soon. But anyway, let's move forward a little bit. Let's start talking some ball. DC, I know you had an incredible career. And I know you kind of dabbled, talking about possibly coming back. We'll talk about that at another time. But I just want you to kind of hit on your relationship with Coach Gruden. I know he had such a big influence on you. I know he had a massive influence on me. Just kind of talk about you guys' relationship from the start. Like, how did it begin? How were those first conversations, and how did that evolve, into, having all the accomplishments and records that you set?
Yeah. So like back then, like there were so many rumors, right? And we had a great coach in Jack Del Rio. And then, winning coach, we went to the playoffs, had some of my best years with him. And then all of a sudden, MD decides to go a different direction. And we're like, dang, there must be something cooking if you're going to get rid of, Coach Del Rio, because we loved him, And so, when I got I get this phone call and I hear he's like, "Hey, Carr, this is John Gruden." I was like, "Wait, for real?" He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "How would you feel if me and Ole came back to coach you?" And I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? I'd love it." Like, what quarterback would say no to that, right? And I remember everyone was like, "These two aren't going to get along." And after our phone call, I said, "I don't know what everyone else sees, but all I know is that we're going to be best friends." And that's literally what it's turned into. Like, he is literally, I call him like my football dad. He literally like loves me like a son. He had my back all the time, had my best years with him. Our brains work the exact same way when it came to football. And that's why we hit it off. And it didn't make sense to people. This is John Gruden cussing everybody out, and he's Chucky and all this kind of stuff. I'm here going to church and doing all this stuff. These two can't ever get along, right? But people miss the most important parts. It's like these dudes are the two of the most competitive, film junkies. Like, we would burn through clickers in the quarterback room just because of all the film we watched. I remember Joe Harrington having to come in and change the clicker out like once a month because we'd go through them so much. And so, it was such a great relationship, and it led obviously to us playing well and all that, but it led to a lifelong relationship to where, like, seriously, every time I've ever called him, it rings maybe one time and he's like, "Derek Carr." Like, it's like not even a hesitation. He answers the phone, and whatever we need to talk about, we talk about. And it's awesome. We ended up even naming our son Dayton Cannon. Cannon was 358 Cannon, Slogo Seam, and we put it in just,
I love it.
We named him Cannon because that play put in our backyard, like that play put a field turf and a basketball hoop up, and so he'll love that forever. And I remember when I called Gru, I was like, and Gru's from Dayton also.
Yeah, I was going to say Dayton Flyer.
Greatest state there is.
I said, "Hey man," I said, "Look, I'm going to tell you something. We're having a baby boy and I'm naming him Dayton Cannon." He says, "You are not." I said, "I am." And a little tear came out of his eye. Cause like, imagine that, man. Like, he's like, "Dude, like he's going to remember, you're going to remember me forever," And so that's just a brief, snapshot glimpse of our relationship. He is, yeah, I love the man. Obviously, when he had his thing, I had that quote. I said, you love the man and hate the sin, right? That's, it sucks that happened. It sucks that, we had to lose him in that way, but I'll love that man forever, and he knows it.
That's incredible. And I want to touch on that. I know you talk about the relationship a lot, and how much film you guys watch and everything along those lines. But specifically from a football standpoint, I know you said that you guys saw football the same way. What specifically,
Yeah.
did you guys see and felt like helped with your success so much, just as far as like a quarterback lens and through coach's lens?
Yeah, so I always told people, I was like, every year, obviously when you don't win, it's like, what do we need to get? Every team that loses, it's like, well, we could get a quarterback, and so I was like, listen, you guys are crazy if you think any rookie, Gruden's ever going to get a rookie quarterback, because they can't handle what he asked them to do. Like you're literally going to the line of scrimmage with 5 plays, but if you didn't check to the thing he told you about 3 months ago, when you get the perfect look, he's going to cuss you out and you're wrong. Like it's insane. And so I loved that he let me use what was my superpower was my mind. I wasn't 6'5". I didn't run a 4.3. Now I could throw a ball wherever I wanted to. That's a gift. But my gift was my mind. I saw the coverages. I heard the calls. I knew what they were in before they'd even show it. One person would be standing in that place, and I studied it on film, and I knew what they were playing before. And he gave me the freedom at the line to just play. And I remember we had this 3 or 4 tight end set, no receivers on the field. We were in this empty formation. We were going to explode down into a tight and run the football. Well, we get in this empty formation, and I in Lambeau Field, I put the pause brakes on it, and I just checked to something because they were in zero. I threw Foster Moreau a touchdown. He dives into the end zone, and I come to the sideline, and Grew, like, he just lit up because he was like, we didn't even talk about that, but you saw the look that I've been showing you, and you checked to the right play, and so that's where we saw the game is just, we always said RCE, recognize, communicate, execute. Can you recognize at the quarterback position? Well, that's the studying, right? Can you communicate? Do you have the leadership? Do you have the vocal? He always said loam, a large, open, moving mouth. Can you be the loud presence on the field, right? And then can you execute? Can you actually make the throws? Can you actually read the coverages? And I think that I checked those 3 boxes for him, and I think that's why we were, always together and have always joked and hinted about, doing it again sometime.
It's so funny hearing you use like all these terms, and even it's funny you saying that Gruden would never be with a rookie quarterback, right? Because I'm pretty sure you went on Gruden's QB camp back in the day, or that he does still to this day. I'm not sure if you tune in or not to him currently doing it. It's all time. I still find myself watching it, but I think it's funny being able to watch him interact with those guys, use those terminologies to your point. But if there's one thing you could say to those rookie quarterbacks that are able to sit down with John Gruden and have that time with him, what is something you think, A, is the most important aspect to grab from that moment from him? And overall, just, I don't know if it's you or just me maybe, but like when I go to Max's house, we're constantly watching just Gruden mic'd up clips. And do you ever find yourself doing that ever too? Because that's A1 in itself.
Absolutely. So yeah, that first part, like I tell my kids and my family all the time, like my inner voice that's in my head is Gruden's voice. Like, don't do that, Carr. It's like, that's the voice that I hear, all the time. That's
your conscience right there.
That's my conscience, is Gruden's voice. Yeah. And so that's how many videos and how much time I spent with him. And then for those rookie quarterbacks, like the one thing you got to know about Gru is everyone sees the Chucky, everyone sees that, but they don't get to see what me and Max got to see is his love for his players. Like he genuinely would do anything for his players, for each individual. He loves his players and will do anything for you. And so my thing with that is the relationship part that people don't really know is if you're a rookie going to that show and you're doing that, invest in that relationship. Like no matter what you do on the show, no matter, do the thing, study the stuff, talk the ball, all that kind of stuff, invest in that relationship and keep going back because he is an open door, open book. Like you can come back to him in the off season and grind with him. He'll watch tape, he'll help you and all. Like just invest in that time. And the few guys that have all played 10 plus years, like all the guys that went back, all the guys that asked for help, all those guys, because he just loves ball. He doesn't have like just one polo of a team that he wears. He just loves ball. I always say he's seen every clip of film ever. As soon as film started, he's seen it, and multiple times. And so I tell my kids, I was like, there's some things you guys are going to get because of your work ethic. But there's also some things you're going to get because of inheritance, just because I did it before you. And that's one of the things that grew. Why not invest in that relationship? And you get by inheritance all the knowledge that he has already built up. And so that's the main thing I'd say.
I love that.
Love that.
I love that. Yeah.
Darian?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest question for you is, and it'll switch gears a little bit, but you were just on your show with your brother, and you talked about you were meant to be a Raider, and it'll be tough to find anybody else that loves the Raiders as much as you. Talk about what the Raiders fan base and the organization meant to you, and why you have that sentiment.
I think Max feels the same way. I think you get there, and when you're a loyal person, and when you give as much as I would say that Max and I, give to be, good at what we did and what we do, you're so invested that you couldn't imagine, you can't even fathom someone loving them more than you. You can't imagine someone wanting to win more than you, right? That's the competitor in you. And so, for me, the Raiders fans, no matter what we went through, sure, they'd get upset when we lost, or if, Max missed a tackle, or if I threw a pick or whatever. Of course they get mad. They're fans, right? They're going to be pissed. They spent their hard-earned money to buy your jersey and to go to your games. Of course they're going to be mad, right? And I understand that. But one thing about them is they'll love you forever. If you show that you'll lay your body on line, all the times I jumped over people or tried to run someone over I shouldn't try and run over, or any of those stupid things I tried to do, or even forcing a pass, trying to win a game, just any of those little things. And we weren't perfect, but when you show them how much you love the game, and you show them how much you're willing to do for their team, playing with 3 broken bones in your back, or playing with a broken hand, playing with these things that, like I always tell people, if I could physically, like Max just did, like if I can still do it, I'm going to play, right? Like as long as they don't sit me down, which you and I, we won't get into that because we both had some situations.
That's your subject.
I'll stay away from it. I'm with you right there. But like we both were probably like, dude, we'll just do it for free. Like we love this team that much. And because of the support and the loyalty from the fans, like all I want to do is see the Raiders win a Super Bowl. That's all I want to do. And so like, I don't care if I'm there or if I'm not there. I just want to see them win, man, because you bleed silver and black for life once you're a part of it and that invested.
I got to say real quick, when you did the hands up just now, DC, just a lot of Foster Moreau mannerisms right there. I got to throw that out there. I just felt it all the way through the screen. You guys, so all in all, if you guys are once a Raider, always a Raider, apparently. That's just how I'm taking it right here. So
100%.
I want to ask you something real quick, DC. I love asking people that have been on the show, but more importantly, have played with Max or been teammates and been through the fire with him. But for you, man, you've obviously have seen Max every single day. You guys have a great relationship. But for you personally, like what makes Max different from all the other elite players? Like you were boys and played with Khalil Mack, for example, and that was a guy for a long time there in Oakland. And so I'm just curious kind of what your process was with Max and what you see from him and what kind of separates him from the pack.
100%. So I always tell people that, wherever somebody puts their time and their money and their energy, that's where their heart is. And when I would walk into that building, I love when I always look at this because I'm a sicko. Whenever the Raiders post you guys walking in for the first day, I loved when I would walk in, it's pitch black. Like I love that. And it's not because everyone gets to see it. It's because my teammates get to see it, and they're going to see it every single day that I'm there. And every time they post it, Maxx Crosby is the first photo and it's pitch black outside. And like, it's not something to be overlooked. It's day one. They're just doing meetings. They're just lifting, but it's not just a meeting. It's not just a lift. This is something that I'm trying to grab everybody around me and say, why don't you freaking do it like this so we can all win, right? And so, you see Max going crazy on the field or on the sideline. Well, if Max is going crazy, I'm 99.9% sure he's right, and because of the work that he put in all before that. And so the number one thing I say about Max is his mentality. His mentality it's sick, man. And I love it because I was someone that my dad told me, he said, if you work as hard as you can for the next 10 to 15 years of your life, you'll never work another day in your life. And I was like, I didn't understand what that meant. But what he was telling me at the time is, if you go work as hard as you can, you don't have to worry about the other stuff. You can just enjoy the grind, man. Just enjoy the process. Even your broken bones, man, just go back and enjoy the process. And Maxx was like that. Maxx was if I was pulling in with the pitch black, so was Maxx. I loved pulling in, and Maxx and I are the only two cars in the parking lot with Gruden. Like that. I love that. When my coach is walking in there and it's still sunny outside, I'd be pissed off. Like I really would. I hated it. I was like, why am I in here grinding, and then you're going to tell me,
especially at quarterback, you first in, last out, and this guy's over here pressing that, right?
Yes. And so that's the other thing too, is like the crazy thing in Vegas, like some of us live close by. So like when the day was done and I'd get some of my stuff done, well, I'm still going home to work. They set up an office in my house. I'm 7 minutes from the facility. So like it doesn't end, right? Mm-hmm. And so I know I'm going home, I'm working, I'm here before everyone, and I'm still working while everyone's, doing other things. And of course we'd play a video game at night, and of course we'd play 2K, and Maxx and I would race down the court to get the open dunk, for the fast break. And we'd do those things, but it was never before the work. My dad always taught me, do the work first, and Maxx did that. The next thing I tell people, besides mentality, was the work ethic. Like, of course you can have the mindset for it, but can you actually do it? And after practice every day, I would run gassers. And even when I went to the Saints, I would run, because in the back of my head, I knew Maxx Crosby was running. And so he, as much as how hard as I worked and all those things, that's what good players do. He said some nice things about me, but I'm going to say about him now. He motivated me too, even when I wasn't even on the team. Me and Foster were still running after practice because we knew 98 was running. We knew after every practice, he's going to take his cleats off and run around the field barefoot, and he's going to run some gassers, and he's going to do some get-offs, and he's just not going to leave the building because he doesn't know what else to do, right? And it's that work ethic and that intensity that just, I was like, we and we did. We had a chance, man, if we just stuck with it and kept the same track, that we could have had something real special, because we had the pieces in place. There were all those kind of guys in the right rooms doing that work ethic. But Maxx is the hardest worker, crazy mentality. You can tell he's been through a lot in his life, because he don't want to go back. He doesn't want, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to go back. I'm going to do this right now. And it is motivating, man. And it makes me a better person. It makes me better now. Like, I still go out and run because I know Maxx is still running. So I'm out and running. I'm in the best shape of my life right now, just because I know Maxx is running. And just as a man, I got to keep going.
It's contagious.
No, I appreciate you, bro. And that's the coolest thing. It's like, I don't, you know what I mean? There's so many different motivations and different factors that go into, being great at whatever you do. But being great is about inspiring others. You know what I mean? There's a lot of really good players. There's a lot of solid players, but the more guys you could bring with you is, that's what greatness is to me. And, that's just hearing that story. I love it. You know what I mean? That's the coolest and biggest compliment you can get, is like, people don't realize this. There's always, like you said, the media feeds off negativity, and they assume they know what's going on in the building and things of that nature. But ultimately it's about how your peers look at you. And that means more than any stat and more than anything, any coach or anything anybody has to say. Is like, who are the guys that are in the foxhole with you, and what do they think of you on a daily basis? Because they get to see you up close and personal. So yeah, that never changes. That's something to this day. I'm doing rehab, but I'm on the bike twice a day. I'm doing extra grip. I'm doing the same things every day and bringing more and more guys with me. And, that's like the true joy I get, being in that building every day. So I appreciate you on that. But, it goes both ways. Hard workers can spot a hard worker, from a mile away, because there's not many that do it at that level consistently. And, that's that makes you stick out. But, kind of just to continue off of, kind of the good old days, because I do agree with you. We were onto something, after winning those 10 games, and, just that culture in the building. I don't think people understand how special that was. I still talk about it to this day, because that was the only time I ever got to go to the playoffs. And that's something that, after going to Cincinnati and playing in that game, coming right down to the end, I was like, I remember sitting in that tunnel looking up and just feeling that energy. Since these fans were just drunk and loud and just demons. And I was like, this is playoff football. Like, I'm going to be doing this for a long time. Yeah. And, for you, what was your favorite moment, as a Raider? I know you've had a lot of legendary moments and big time moments, and I could definitely think of a lot of them off the top of my head. Yeah. But what was the one that specifically stuck out to you, and why?
There's a few, man. So not all good either. One was breaking my ankle. You really realize how fleeting this game can be, and that there's a lot more important things in life, right? Because you think this is everything, and then all of a sudden it's taken from you, and your life flashes before your eyes in a football sense of, dang, is my career over? Like, dang, am I really have a solid foundation of who I am if this is over? Like, so that was one of the moments in my life that meant a lot to me, because I had to check myself. Like, am I excellent in every area? And and I thought I was, but it motivated you to more. Another one was, I have a great picture of you and I walking off the field of that Cincinnati game. It's so hard to get to playoffs. Led the team there twice. That game was one of them. And I remember, I still to this day, I'm like, I had to throw that ball to Zay, like we had 2 routes into the end zone, and I have to force one of them because it's the last play. And I'm like, gosh, and I remember jogging off that field, and it's you and I, just like it was jogging onto that field. It was you and I in the front, and we're jogging off together, and your arms around me. And it's one of those moments where, like, it sucks, but everything we went through that year, and we still made it to that, like that. That's powerful stuff, man. Like, that's hard to do. And everyone would have gave us an excuse if we just won 3 games and like mailed it in, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't. And we kept telling each other, we said, nobody cares, right? Nobody cares that our coach is gone. No one cares that our receiver's gone. No one cares about any of that. We got to keep going. And that was the closest knit team I've ever been a part of. But I think my favorite memory, besides beating Kansas City at home at their place, was probably calling the timeout to kick the Chargers out of the playoffs and send them home. Me and Bosa were great after, he said something, and then we get to play him at the end of the year. I'll see you soon. We end up beating them and calling that timeout. But just, there was so much hype around that game. There was so much building up, and being able to be right next to Cleat, put that little smirk on my face and call that timeout, because like everyone's like, we'll take the tie. I'm just like, you guys really want to play Derwin James and Joey Bosa again? These guys are insane. Like, why don't we just send them home? What are we doing? And so, beating a rival like that, sending them home like that, I'll never forget that entrance of that game. Coming out into that, they had that little camera following. I was like, that was so lit. And so that's probably my favorite memory. And then some stories that I won't share that we have. we got some good memories.
Yeah, no doubt. No, that's got to be my favorite too, bro. I talk about it probably way too much, still to this day. But that moment, just feeling that energy, especially in Las Vegas, because like being in Oakland, we had a full Raider crowd the whole time. You smelled the weed from the parking lot coming into the stadium. You felt that energy all the time. And there was literally people were terrified to put on another jersey and walk into that stadium. And being in Las Vegas, it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? People, like, Las Vegas is a destination city. Everybody wants to come to Vegas or have an excuse to go support their team. And, that's been an issue. And obviously us having our struggles has not helped. With other fans coming in there and kind of setting their own tone in our stadium, which I hate more than anything. But going back to that season, I'll never forget just that week 18 going into that week. I remember walking with Foster up to Bisaccia's office, like, we're winning this game. Like, there was not one doubt in our minds. And Rich was like, we're talking to Rich, like, he was so calm. He's like, oh, we're going to win. He goes, I don't know how it's going to look. It might be down to the last second. He's like, we're going to win this game. And going into that stadium, the environment felt like Oakland for the first time I've ever, since we've been there in Vegas, and it was just about to explode. It felt like the whole game. So yeah, it was just, and honestly, to start that year, just the anticipation, like there was a lot of like positive energy going into that year, and starting off in the OT win against Baltimore, like that environment was crazy. And it just felt like right the whole year. So yeah, that week 18 win against the Chargers still to this day for me too is the best moment I've had as a Raider for sure.
I feel like that's just a fact, because the amount of times we've discussed the game and we were just standing in the crowd watching it, right? And that's the one game I feel like we point to all the time as kind of like a highlight. Honestly, that's a great way to put it. Like, that environment alone was unbelievable for that game. And I do want to ask you something here, DC, with obviously The Raiders are going to be coming up with the number 1 overall pick and all that going on now. I do want to ask you, everyone has their ideas of who it's going to be, right? A lot of people are on Poly Market hammering that away right now. I'm sure of it. But what kind of QB do you feel like the Raiders need right now, though, to be contenders?
Yeah,
What
so
type of
it's
quarterback?
100%. You're in a weird position, right? You just hire a coach who I played for, also Clint, Kubiak, we can talk about him later, but I love him. And you hire a coach who just came off a Super Bowl win. So you hire a Super Bowl coach, everyone's like Super Bowl, and so I know as a veteran player, my expectation was, what are we doing to win right now? Right. Yep. I get you got to build a team. I get you got to look towards the future. I understand, but I also don't care. Right. I want to win now. Like, I don't care about your future plan. I don't care about your draft pick. I care about winning. And so the message that the general manager and the head coach can, relay to the veteran players is important. Now, I'm not going to get into that. Max can get into that better than I can ever get into that because he's in the room. But I know Clint a little bit, and I would assume that their plan is to win right now. But they also have to look towards the future. And so the quarterback that plays, right, you got Kirk, right? Fernando's getting drafted. You guys don't have to say it. I'll say it, right? Fernando's going to the Raiders, okay? And I've talked to Fernando, and I've known Kirk forever. And they're going to compete, and they're going to get after it, and it's going to be awesome. No matter how Fernando looks, right? A lot of guys say, you're the number 1 overall pick. You're in there, right? And I understand that. But as a quarterback, I also understand what's best for him is to wait, right? You have not been under center. You have not seen a rush like this. You played Ohio State, great. It ain't, it ain't the NFL, okay? Like it's different, right? These coverages, these windows, they close quick. Guys will leave their responsibility to go pick a ball off because they know it's just a clear out and they're going to pick your ball off. Like there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be that you can't learn unless you play the game. And if your goal is to win right now, I think Kirk plays, and you hope as a team that Kirk plays great, right? And he's fantastic, and you can keep Fernando sitting there for a full year. But what you need is someone that won't turn the ball over, and isn't scared to throw the ball down the field, right? You got to be able to take those shots, especially with these match coverages. You're going to get the DBs back to you. You got to throw the ball down the field in these, type of teams nowadays. And it's fun because the Raiders have guys that can go make those plays, right? And so I know that offense. I know the bootlegs. Brock Bowers is going to be open on some bootlegs, and everyone in the world is going to know 89 is getting the ball. It doesn't matter. Okay, because the run play looks the exact same for the first 5 steps, right? And then all of a sudden he's out the back door. And so they're gonna be great. They're gonna be fine. But the thing to me is you're gonna play really good on defense. Okay, you got the pieces there to play really good on defense. You can't turn the ball over. So if I have a good defense, I can't turn the ball over, but there's this fine line of aggression that you have to play with because you can't be an offense that just scores 17 a game either, right? Yeah. And so I think they know that, but that run game is going to be humming. I'm telling you right now, that run game with Genty, the man was already breaking tackles with people in the backfield. Like once they get that thing cooking, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a wrap.
I love it. You touched on, obviously you had some experience with Clint too, and we've talked, off camera about, how great, he was for you. Kind of just touch on your relationship with him and just what makes him different and special, compared to, some other coaches you've been with.
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say to the team is he's super kind, right? He's super quiet, super laid back, just country, right? He's going to be super monotone. He's going to be like this all the time. He'll get a little excited, and that's about where it gets to, but it's right there. It doesn't wiggle too much, right? And he won't get too down either. He's going to be consistent. The other thing is don't mistake his kindness for weakness. Okay. Because as soon as you're like, dude, this dude is great. He's kind. He's all that. You're going to play a game. He's going to call you out. And he's like, this is bull crap. Like you cannot throw this ball. This at left guard we've never talked about this, right? He's going to call those things out, and he's doing it because it's the best thing for you. And you got to understand, don't mistake his kindness for weakness because he's still going to hold you to the standard. The standard ain't changing. And if you try a little bit to feel some type of way about it, I promise you, they'll find somebody else, because that system that they're bringing in, right? I'm talking offensively. Now he'll probably melt off into deep, but offensively, he's bringing a system where he knows exactly what he needs at each position. And if you have a problem with it or you can't do it, I will find someone that can do exactly what I need them to do. It's not just like, here's the biggest hurdle that they have is you've had all these different coaches changes, right? You've had all these different schemes, okay? You got a roster full of mismatched bodies, okay? And it's gotten cleaner over free agency. It'll get cleaner through the draft. But there is a certain scheme that they're going to run that's only going to get better if you give it time, right? That's only going to get better if you give guys more reps in the same scheme. I'm sure Max knows that too. Like, can I please just play in the same defense? Can I please just have the same rules? Can you just let me be free, right? And if I see Maxx Crosby in a 3-4 drop on third down, I'm going to fight somebody, right? Anytime you drop your best pass rusher more than one time a year, you're wrong, all right? And so
I already told Robbie, don't worry. I had the same talks with Pat. I'm like, yeah, that dropping shit, figure something else out.
Bro, I'd rather play the freaking nose than drop, bro.
I mean, he got his interception by not dropping this year anyways, right? He just
but the answer.
Let's just leave it with this. Yes.
But yeah, you guys, I'll say I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I really do.
I love that.
Yo, before we keep going on with the show, quick shout out to Bond Charge for sponsoring this episode. They just sent me their sauna blanket to try, and I've actually been loving it. Bond Charge makes science-backed wellness products designed to help with things like sleep, recovery, and overall wellness. And their products are built to fit easily into your routine. With everything that we've got going on over here at The Rush, training, travel, recording the podcast, recovery is huge. And finding ways to relax and reset at home makes a massive difference. And for me, that is the sauna blanket. I've been using the sauna blanket mostly after workouts or at night when I'm just winding down. It basically gives you that deep infrared sauna heat at home without having to go anywhere. You just roll it out, get inside, and relax for just a little bit. And I will tell you guys, since I've been using it, it's been a really good way to release tension and reset, especially after training. It creates a solid sweat that helps me loosen up and unwind, and it's honestly pretty easy to work into a normal night routine. Let's take it another step further though, guys, okay? I also like that Bond Charge focuses on premium wellness products that are grounded in science and actually built with a purpose. Another cool thing is, guys, that it's HSA and FSA eligible, which means you can potentially save up to 40% depending on your plan. If you're ready to feel better, go to bondcharge.com and use code RUSH to save 15% off your sauna blanket. Again, that's BONCHARGE.com. Use code RUSH to save 15% off your sauna blanket. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Back to the show. I think it's interesting, though, to your point of you saying Clint has a system. He already has a vision and a visual of who's going to be in these positions and how it's going to work, right? Because I feel like so many people, and I could be probably guilty of it too, but from the outside looking in, you're like, man, the best coaches, they have a system that's set up, yes, but they play to the strengths of their players and X, Y, and Z. But to your point, I feel like having that structure, having that vision, and it's already been tried and true. They just won, to your point, won a Super Bowl. He knows what it's like. And I think that structure is something that some people might have gotten away from. And I think that's a massive point that you hit on. I wanted to say that. One thing I do want to ask you, because I obviously, from playing quarterback as well, I feel this for the guys who play now, right? I look at, and some guys are Mr. Can't Get Right. I understand that, right? And I'm not going to say any names, but do you feel the league does have an issue when it comes to quarterbacks specifically? But just like a development, and I more so say a patience issue. I feel like there's no patience nowadays, either whether it's the front office might have an agenda or the coaching staff has to win right now. It's starting to hinder the development. And you said it now, if it's going to be Fernando being number one, let them sit. Look at a lot of the best quarterbacks sat their first year. Some guys get thrown in the fire, but Pat Mahomes, Brady, the list goes on and on. So I kind of want your thoughts on maybe just the state or the status, I guess, of how people's mindset and the patience that goes along with these quarterbacks.
Yeah, I would say the state of the quarterbacks, I'll say this first, is in a great place, right? These guys are so talented. Okay, you got guys that can run 4.4s, they're 6'5", they can throw the ball 80 yards, right? The development of quarterbacks is scaring me, if I'm honest, okay? Because one, in college, think about it this way, everyone's transferring, okay? It's not working for me here. And instead of staying there, getting better, learning the system, getting stronger, cutting body fat, doing all those things, just grinding, we just leave because someone said that I'm worth this right now. Instead of just staying, grinding, becoming the starter eventually, and now I'm even better and I'm worth even more down the road. So that's the problem number one, is I think college has to help us a little bit, okay? Because they want people to come in and play quick. So what have we done? We've simplified systems, okay? So we've simplified systems. We've simplified reads. We've done all these RPOs that are one-man reads. Well, that doesn't necessarily translate to 70 plays of NFL football. You can do it here and there. You can mix them in. Can't be your offense. It just doesn't work, right? The people have tried it, and it just ends up just being crap for a couple weeks, right? Once people understand what you're doing. That's number one. Number two is we're in this pure progression kind of world, which is great. But if you're in this pure progression world, but you haven't been taught coverages, you're going to be late to some throws that you need to get off of quicker. You're going to be throwing the ball where you expect this guy to be, and someone's going to come from out of nowhere and pick these balls off because, oh, wait, how did he get there? If you don't have an understanding of the safeties, you don't have an understanding that this is quarters, that this is 6, that that's 2, that this is 3, this is buzz, this is robber. Like if you don't have some kind of understanding, catch the ball and see the guy carry, so now I know it's matched, so I have a one-on-one here. Like that, you're going to run into a problem down the road where you get all these just pure progressions here, and you're putting a lot of pressure on the offensive line now, right? Instead of just taking one hitch and getting the ball to your hand. And so I'll say it this way. It's not the NFL coach's fault. They don't have time. What do we want as players, right? Now, not us, right? But what do the players in majority want? I want to do less work and be paid more. Right. If we do less work and paid more, okay, that's fine. But you're hurting the development of quarterbacks. We used to be in there for 8 hours just going over basic information. We used to be in there every day, just grinding tape. Hey, this is quarters. These are quarters beaters. This is where they're weak. This is 3. This is how you see it. And now these teams that are disguising and holding shells and then doing it at the late, like these, I feel bad for these young quarterbacks because the developmental process I feel bad for the coaches too, because they don't have the time allowed anymore. So I am worried about that, but there are solutions and there's ways around it. We did a lot of extra work on our own to make sure we were developing our other quarterbacks, and I was helping with that. But maybe that's something I'll get into down the road and help these guys a little bit.
Love that. Love that. Darren, you got another one, right?
Yeah. We talk a lot about, and I like that you touched on the college system. College football is a feeder league into the NFL. It's become the wild, wild west over the last, we'd say, 4 or 5 years. What do you think is one tangible fix or solution that could grab the reins back for college football to kind of shrink things back in and actually make the product that they're putting out on the field and the next level better?
I would say number one is loyalty, right? If I signed that letter, I wanted to transfer. I was backing up and I'm like, dude, I should be playing. And don't get me wrong. Let me be clear. I understand why guys transfer sometimes. I get it. There are certain reasons. There's a coach that leaves. I went there for this coach. He's gone. Like, that kind of sucks, right? New system, if the coach leaves, why can't I leave? Situation. Trust me, there is 100 things I understand. But I think we can also all agree on that there's something about grinding through the suck of not being good enough yet, right? There's something to be said of, man, I'm not there yet. Can I stick it out for a year or two until I earn that spot, right? I remember Pat Hill, he was with Saban and Belichick with the Browns. He was my coach at Fresno State. And he said, look, man, I'm not going to play you. And I was pissed. I was mad. I was like, dude, I freaking, I'm about to get drafted. What are you talking about? I can't start right now. I'm mad. And he's like, look, dude, you're not playing. And he said, because I need you to get a little stronger. I need you to get tougher because you're only 18. You're not ready yet. I'm telling you. I'm like, what? I'm mad, but he saw something in me that I wasn't there yet, right? Mm-hmm. And instead of just saying, well, they think I'm good enough as I am and leaving and just being the same, I stuck it out. He said, I promise you the team's going to be better. You're going to be better. And I stuck it out and I grinded. Man, I was running scout team quarterback until we shredded them so much I turned into a scout team receiver. I'm a scout team receiver. 3 years later, I'm drafted in the NFL starting for the Oakland Raiders. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, well, guys, there's something about just grinding and staying in a system, right? And staying in a building and having some loyalty. I learned so much football, right? I didn't go to another system and just jump around to just play quick and get into a spread and that didn't translate into what I was going to be doing. And so for me, it was so beneficial as even we had one coaching change, but I still was in charge of protections. I was still in charge of checking plays. I was in charge of the run game, not running into an unblocked defender. But I couldn't have done that if I just bounced and had to learn a new system, right? There's so, as you know, especially everyone knows playing, especially you, Brogan, playing quarterback, there's so much on our plate that you go to another place, it's hard just to learn the system, let alone do all the little details to help you win games, right? And so I think there's a loyalty piece that I get transfers, but I would love to see some guys. I admire Arch Manning. He could have held them hostage for $20 million, but he didn't. He's like, I'm here. I said, I'm going to be here for this, and go get me a couple receivers, he was even a backup. This is the number one recruit in the country. He's like, I'll back up. I'm not ready yet. I'm going to take my time. He didn't leave early just to go get paid. He's like, I'm not ready yet. I need another year. And so there's something to be said about that, I think, just in my opinion.
I love that.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, you're 100% spot on. I think it's so, like, obviously from a quarterback perspective, the development is at the highest level, especially in football. It's the hardest position, just because of, obviously, there's so many aspects that come with being a quarterback, from leadership to running a system and all those things. But I see it, as well. Being on the defensive side of things, I think every year, these guys come in, the young guys, and it's there's a sense of entitlement that I think is a big problem. And I think it stems from what we just talked about. You get into a adverse situation where you think, okay, this coach doesn't like me, that's why he's not playing me, and this and that, and this school is going to let me play. And if you're looking for the easy out, you're creating a habit that's going to be detrimental to you in the long run every time. It's like, we talk about it from a business standpoint, even with the podcast. And Derek, you're figuring this out too. It's like, what's better, quick money or longevity? And it looks great in the forefront. Like, hey, we'll give you $500,000 and da-da-da. You're like, oh, that wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't be mad about it. But it's like, it's what we talked about when we started the podcast. I'm like, listen, this is a long-term thing. I was like, I don't care about the quick money. I don't care about the money personally for myself. I care about the longevity of this thing, so that we're going to have options down the road if we go through the adversity and the hard situations and the ups and downs. And you got to go through that. So when the money comes, you actually appreciate it. If you get it up front and skip the hard part, then you're literally holding yourself back from how great you can be in whatever you do in life. So I see it all the time. There's a lot of young guys, D linemen, and they come in the league and they think immediately like, no, I should be on third down. I rush. I had a 20% win rate at whatever so-and-so college. I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit different over here. This is a different world, and you got to earn it all over again, no matter if you're the top pick or the last guy, brought in the building. So yeah, it's so interesting to hear that too, because when I was at Eastern, it was the same type of situation. Like when I went to Eastern, I had Jimmy Williams, former NFL player. He was our D-line coach. He was hard-nosed. He was really tough on us. And I felt like I was ready to go as a freshman. I'm going in there. I was like 220 pounds, but Darian could attest to this, and Brogan, like I was in there wrecking practices on scout team. And I was like, I'm better than him. I'm better than why the hell am I redshirting? What is this? And in my head, it made no sense, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me in the long run, because I literally remember I was like, this is bullshit. I want to transfer. This is da 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 da. But I just said, no, let's stick it out. I talked to my, my dad. I talked to a lot of people around. They're like, bro, just stick it out, keep working hard. And I took that scout team, role so seriously, because I got Andrew Wiley playing right tackle, who's still in the NFL, just signed another contract. And then I got Cole Gardner, who ended up, our left tackle ended up going to the league and played with Tampa for a little bit. And I was able to get those reps that were the most valuable thing I could ever get. And I was able to play with freedom. And it was my second year ever playing DN. So I'm out there just figuring out what works for me, how, what if I was good at the spin move, am I good at the swipe, this and that. And that Scout Team Player of the Year award to this day it's in my office. It sits there because that was one of the most, if not the most important year of my life as a player, because I was humbled. And at the same time, there was no way getting out of it. I had to just learn and grow and evolve. And, it paid off in the long run. So it's, I'm glad you could talk about that a little bit, because I think we all have a similar, type deal when it comes to that red shirting and not leaving, just sticking it out, because it pays off. It's a long-term investment for yourself. But I want to hit you with one more question. We don't want to keep you too long. We could literally do this all day. But, we talked about the Raiders a lot. And, obviously you had an incredible 9-year run with the Raiders, being the franchise guy, and, setting a lot of records and doing everything for that organization. But when it came down to the end, obviously, we won't talk about how everything went down, but ultimately when you're going to a different organization, you end up picking, deciding to go to New Orleans. What was that like, leaving for the first time and going to somewhere new? You've been so used to being on the Raiders and being used to that fan base and everything like that. What was that transition like, going to a different organization? And, what were the highs, what were the lows, and just how was that, experience?
It was really interesting. I wanted to take my time. Obviously, it's the first time I've ever been free in the NFL since choosing what college I wanted to go to also. And so for 15 years, I was on 2 teams, and, that's crazy. Right. And for me, making that decision was tough. You want to vet everything. Like, are you trying to win now? Are we really trying to win now? And you got to trust what they're saying. And Mickey was great with the Saints. Talking to him, the GM, he was honest. Everything he told me was what he did. He's a man of his word. And you appreciate that. We had a really good football team. My second year, my first year there, I think we won 9 games, and we were starting to build it, right. And you do that, and it's going towards the end of the year. We were like, think the number 1 offense or whatever. We were starting to head the right direction. We start the next year as the number 1 offense, and then everybody gets hurt. And you know how that does to a team. It's once you have those injuries, and not only to starters but to their backups, and it just funneled, and we just couldn't get healthy. And all the injuries, all those things, and you go through it and you find out just how hard it is again, right? You just, all the Raiders fans know I'd play with anything, right? And my first year, I destroyed my shoulder. It's like a 2-month, 3-month deal. And I was like, let's just shoot it up and play. Now to you guys wouldn't bat an eye. You'd be like, yeah, Derek's playing, but when you go to a new place, you have to prove that all over again, right? It's kind of weird. It's like, bro, haven't I proven this for a decade?
Like a rookie all over again. Almost,
yeah, it's like,
right?
I was like, guys, like I'm playing. They're like, wait, what? I'm like, I know that us trainers, we're new working together, but I'm just shoot it up. I'm playing, and it was crazy, man. But you have to prove yourself all over again. I loved that part of it. I wish, man, more than anything. When we first got there, I was so focused on the football that I didn't really get to the community aspect like I did with the Raiders that first 6 months. And that's one thing I look back, man, I wish I did that sooner, right? We did some community things. We helped bless a lot of families and people out there, and it was beautiful. That's one of the things I was like, man, I wish I did that sooner, right? That's one thing I look back on. But Miss Benson, the owner, she's the sweetest lady I've ever met, Max. Like, she is the nicest kind. We met with her, and my wife was like, Heather was like, yeah, you're coming here. I was like, yes, ma'am. It was like, it's a wrap. Yeah. She was the best. So Saints organization is awesome, man. The fans are great. Like, we won our first game my first year there, and there are presents for our kids and balloons on our doorstep. It was awesome, man. People helping us with our trash. Had the sweetest old lady across the street. I'd help her with her trash. Like, the South, man, it's just different, right? Different. Your neighbor knocks on the door, you open the door, they just walk in. It was my wife was only from California, so she's like, what's happening? What's going on? Yeah. And so it was beautiful, man. But it was hard because I'm a Raider, like I put that jersey on for the first time, like, this gold should be silver, and I think a lot of us felt that way, and but that's the business of it. Like, Max, you were on a different team for like 2 days. Like, it's hard, man. It's weird. Yeah. And but you see the business side of things, and it's crazy, bro. But man, I'm so thankful for my career. Like, when I look back, I'm so thankful. You sit back, you're like, man, I was one of the hardest workers ever. I'm so proud of that. Never missed anything. Go on and on and on, right? And you look back at it, you're like, man, but I never got to hold that trophy. And I can think about that for the rest of my life, or I can live with Thanksgiving, right? Like, I can be thankful for what I did get to do. How many kids out there wish they could be the Raiders' all-time leader, and the comeback wins, and, be able to take care of your family. Like, I got to take a step back and be like, whoa, man, I thank God for all of it. Thank God for more importantly, the relationships, like just texting you after a game or, checking on you, just telling you, man, how much I love you. And, all that, just those relationships you build that when we're both done and everyone kind of forgets about us, and the Raiders are still playing football. Like I had to realize they're going to play football without me. They are going to put the ball down without me, once we're like those relationships, man, are the things that you really hold on to. And you don't realize it as much when you're playing. You're really good at it. I'll give you credit for that. That you do realize it. But I was not the best at realizing the importance of those relationships until you're done, and it's really a beautiful thing that you get to do. And I'm just thankful. And so the ending was crazy. It was crazy. It was hard. I'll never forget that day, just dapping you up as I walked through the locker room, and I won't say what you said, but you're like, what, what is happening? And crazy situation, but I will never, ever hold a grudge against anybody, man. I'm thankful to Mark for him trusting in me all those years through all 13 coaches and play callers and all that kind of stuff. And I'm a Raider for life, man. So, I love you. I appreciate you guys having me on too.
Absolutely. I think you wrapped it up perfectly. It was an honor to take the field with you, man. We had so much fun. And like you said, like those relationships are everything. You know what I mean? All the hard work in the moment, it's tough and you got to wake up at, it's 5 a.m. and you got to go in there and grind film and, put your body through hell and play through all those injuries. And, people don't even get to see that. But ultimately, when you look back, it's like, who are the guys that were with you, when you won and things were good. And when things were tough, who was with you in the foxhole? And you definitely were one of those guys. So, I love you like a brother, bro. And I appreciate you taking the time, spending some time with us and my guys. This is definitely long overdue, but I'm glad we finally can get together. And, we definitely got to get you out to Vegas. The fans would love to see you. But we have a suite at the home at all the home games. So you're more than welcome to come be with the family and be at, literally any game you want to. You're more than welcome with the whole army. I know you got a whole offensive line now. You got 5 of them. So, extremely proud of you, bro. And, anytime you need me, you hit me and, it goes vice versa. So we love you, brother. I appreciate you taking the time today, man.
No, bro. Love you guys. Brogan, Darian, thank you. Max, love you, man. And yeah, more than anything, I'm going to come back to that stadium at some point. And it's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait. I got to come see a game, got to come see the fans, but it'll happen. Just tell Mark to hit me up.
I got you.
Hopefully LeBron's inspiring you to get back out there at age 41, 40.
Oh, gosh. Oh gosh. I need somebody to not call me. Like, don't stop calling. You
just change your number. You're good.
Change my number. But appreciate you guys, man.
You already know. Well, everybody, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We have the one and only Derek Carr in the building today. These are my brothers, Brogan Rollback, Darian Terrell. We love you, brother. Derek, I'll see you soon. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
It's family forever. You know that. That's all we got this week on The Rush. Peace.
I ain't the driver, the one in the back, feeling like Crosby, I'm turned to the max. You with, he ain't talking